What is up, everyone? My name is Volathis, and this is Just Building Minecraft. So, we're back starting the new year, and just wanted to start with some of the few little updates we've done around the magical city. As you can see here, started off by I took out the bottom layer around the poor apartments settings and just put in regular stone just to make it look a little bit more worn down. After that, I went to the top and just filled in with fence posts for that area just to make sure that no one was going to be jumping off this roof quite so easy. And then I came back to a place I haven't really touched in a while, the Mage Tower, and I outlined the outer rim of the tower with lapis lazuli blocks, and then from there I started to make on the others at 3 points the sort of a rune fixture I was going at. I had been looking up online, and I wanted to make a very simple out rune to kind of demonstrate the magical power that was used to make this city fly. And the simplest I found was a circle surrounded by 3 dots in a triangle formation. I went ahead with that design. And what I later planned and went through with is I actually made the 3 points beacons. So I actually took out the lapis points and replace those with beacons. So I also made sure to put in blue stained glass so the beacons will shoot up across the kingdom and they will be blue beams of power. And of course, as you can see, I outlined with diamond blocks and actually gave them some powers. I believe it's regen, jump, speed, and resistance, just to give a better feel that you're in the magical section of the town and even feel more powerful being in that part of town. So let's talk about what actually went into the building process last week. So last week, Wolflord and I began to work on what would become the market center. And there was going to be sort of the idea that obviously this was going to be the market zone, so there was going to be stalls. Later on, I actually put in 2 actual shop buildings. Now, the shop buildings were going to be able to either be rented out or owned by a more wealthier merchant. And the stalls were just for anyone selling something simple. And first we started outlining the outside of the actual square with with the stone brick stairs, and just to kind of give it a feel that you would go up into this section. And then after that I went to the center and started to work on the guard tower. I did not finish the guard tower. It is still a work in development. In fact, it will probably be the center point for next week, and stay tuned because I definitely have a little teaser to talk about at the end of this episode. So very quickly, it was just a simple guard tower. I went up to the top of the bridge. In fact, I think I'm going to show a little development of building this bridge. Is still a work in progress, but the bridge, you've seen it multiple times. In fact, there's a little teaser in the background of what's happening to that bridge. But the bridge connects, as you may have seen from the Mage Tower, all the way to the castle, and there's going to be a lot more involvement in that. But other than that, the guard temple was simple, just straight up from bottom to top, and I put in some oak wood for the floor. Other than that, I was done with that. It was something quick. And then I went to the outside, filled it in with oak planks. I wanted the flooring to be simple and the outline of the guard tower to be simple. That'll be definitely something to be worked on next week. And before I forget, the guard tower is just supposed to be simple. It might be able to hold just a few prisoners before eventually being taken to the prison. That's another building I have planned, but I outlined the outside with iron bars just to kind of give it a little fenced off. There were 4 entrances, and as well as the guard tower had 4 entrances. And after that, I went into constructing the stalls, and basically the stalls were going to take up not that much room. In fact, I think at the end it's still quite open. I might have to go back in and maybe make it a little bit more cramped, at least in the middle part of this. But the stalls weren't supposed to be very large. They're supposed to be very cramped. These merchants want to get in, get out. And yes, it's a little uncomfortable, but if you've ever been to a farmer's market or anything like that, that stuff's uncomfortable. It's very crowded and stuff like that. This might be a little bit more crowded than your normal farmer's market, but it was all a very simple design, and I basically copied that for most of it. It was just, as you can see, as most of it was a simple C shape. I put in the fence post and as well as the gates, and then I proceeded to make the roofs out of wool. The colors I used were red, yellow, blue, and obviously if one roof was one color, it was going to stay that solid color. And that's for the most part how the stalls were going to work. I eventually went back and put item frames on them. I didn't really fill them in just because of the fact that I wanted that to be left that way. That would be something that the merchant would set up each time they set up shop. And obviously these shops were going to be rented out probably for only a day, maybe a week if they paid a certain tax or something like that. So as you can see, most of what's happened there, and then I copied it on the 2 sides and wanted to make sure at least that the entrances to this market stall area was not blocked off. And towards the end, I started to work on the buildings. Now, I only used 2 buildings for this. I didn't want to have a bunch of shop buildings because I still want this mainly to be a stall area. But what I did is with the remaining space, I made 2 buildings, and I decided that one building was going to be made more for maybe one purpose and one for another. The first building I started to work on was more of a clothing / armor shop, and basically I put in a lot of windows so you could put the mannequins up front on display, you know, give them some clothes and all that, and people could walk by and say, oh, that looks really nice, I should get some. Kind of make window shoppers want to come in kind of deal. And even with the little space that I had for these, I think I pulled it off very well. The first shop was only a single level, and the very small space in the back was just going to be used for storage. And the second building that I worked on was made for 2 levels. I didn't really know what I was going to make it be used for. I just knew that it was going to be a dual level, just kind of to make it stand out a bit more. As you can see, also I used the normal stone brick, my default building material, and the one roof is made out of cobblestone stairs. And on the second one, I made sure I didn't put in as many windows. Obviously this wasn't going to be a window shop friendly area. This is one of the more they were just gonna have to attract them in on their own, and I made use of the small space for stairs for the second level as well as the storage space for anything else. And after that, I basically just made some simple desk areas that people would check out with their items and all that. And as well as I wanted to make sure that I had some windows at least, just because of the fact that natural lighting does wonders and also makes it a lot less reliant on torches everywhere. And after that, I basically went to the roof. I outlined it with brick at first, and decided I didn't really like the look of that, and went back and put sandstone around. And honestly, I think it looks a lot better. So real quick, we'll do a panning of the marketplace of what it looks like now, and we'll talk about the things that I have planned, some more things planned up ahead, and we'll probably end the episode. Kind of a fast episode, but I definitely wanted to get everything out there as I could. Alright, and that's just about it for this episode. And tell me what you think about it. Do you think this episode was too short? Do you think it was just about the right length? As you can see in the top store, I had music players. I can't think of the word right now. Music players upstairs, just an example of the things they put up there. And we'll talk about the bridge. Now that bridge is going to lead to the guard tower, and like I've said, and as well the castle. But what is going to be on top of the bridge on the guard tower is I'm going to build, I don't want to say Colosseum, I feel like that's too large scale, especially for a building structure. I think that would collapse on itself. But I'm definitely going to look into building a kind of practice arena for the mages to practice spells, and I'm thinking that it might be even a Colosseum-like section for prisoners that are to be executed. Basically, one of the survivor maybe of the match would have a license in jail instead of just being executed. So things like that up to come. And as well as I'm hoping of going back to the castle, I want to add a structure to the castle. We'll have to see later. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. And as always, stay magical.